Sktv-Lib. C'est ma chérie, tina ke ase ma yamo. Engi sano muni, emu aye yo. Engi lofa mui, emu aye yo.
Sktv, the best in Liberia. Sktv, the best in Africa. Sktv, the best in Mama Liberia. Must hold by the lofa and grandbaza.
Ena dine ya tumare, ena salia ya tumare, ena konagli ya tumare, ena kodugwa ya tumare, ena dine ya tumare, ena salia ya tumare, ena konagli ya tumare, ena kodugwa ya tumare, ena da pagiyari na ya tumare, Sktv, ena da pagiyari na, tosi wako ma ya tumare.
Sktv, the best in Liberia. Sktv, the best in Africa. Sktv, the best in Mama Liberia. Must hold by the lofa and grandbaza.
There are things we can do. We bring in good news and we give it to you. We talking about podcasts and connecting people and culture from here and outside of the globe. Qualified people who waiting to sell. The flesh, the time, and the efforts are rare. The broadcast we giving are real and I promise my best to work with my life without fear. From Grandfather, Nima to Lufa. From River Sass, River G to Chile. From Grand Crew, Bombing, Kidman, Montserrat, San to Bacalu. From Maryland, Bonk to the Mikey B. We the best in the land, yeah, LIB. We the best in the land, yeah, LIB. We the best in the land, yeah, LIB.
Sktv, the best in Liberia. Sktv, the best in Africa.
Indeed, Superfam is the radio service of the Renaissance Communication Incorporated. We broadcast live and direct from the nation capital Monrovia. And from our part, today is Monday, having to be the 10th of March. Yes, indeed, today is the 10th of March. Here in Medicine 2025. Also, good to see the president bringing to all of you our dear listeners. And today, how we're going to start? Yeah, even though we went through some technical but at least we were able to get this done and touch and we are set up and we are good to go. So again, please let's share the show. Those of you who just joining us, let's share the show. Sorry, as you are sitting playing back to back. That's the video coming from the young people. Indeed, the young people, especially the motorcyclists, listening to them. Yes, so we will play that video maybe for the second time. Those of you who just joined us, please, let's share the show. Muna is here already. Let me see her there. Okay, Muna. Okay. Yes, so Mona, let me say the wonderful way to say the pleasant good evening and welcome to the Monday edition of the Sktv show. What's up? How are you, Mona?
Yeah, I'm doing good after a wonderful weekend. We are back again. It is Monday, the first working day in the week. It's good to be back here on the Sktv show, baby. How are
Wonderful.
you?
It's good to be. Yes, I'm doing great. Thank God for life because it's not easy though when you leave from your house in the morning time, you go to your little hustle area, or maybe you go through all of the hustle and back to back with all of the situation until you find your way back home. You have to kneel down and tell the Almighty Creator, thank you for giving you another opportunity for you to hustle for the day. So again, let's recognize
Yeah,
few of our people. Yeah, Muna. We want you to do that today. Help us to recognize few of our people who are viewing or who are commenting one way and the other. So please have your
okay, let me say,
let
okay, just, yeah. Well, yeah, right now we have Regina Wilson. Thank you for always. We have Linda Yimpa. Welcome. Atsatu Odazin. Welcome as well. And we have Yumoto Asedu Mensa. Welcome. We have Alexander Boniface Emmanuel. Yes, welcome. Yeah, I think the names are still coming, but if you are here, I do recognize all
yes,
of you.
please.
Have a
So please,
wonderful
yeah,
weekend. We are back. Yeah.
great. So just give us a like, share, another comment so that we'll be able to recognize few of you. Those of you who are also watching, that's the best thing to do. I think Kitty the Tobogi. This name is just so interesting. Muna,
Seriously,
I know,
the man got a wonderful name.
okay.
Get the buggy. Wow, so
Kitty the
much interesting. That's a
Tobogi.
wonderful African food, right? Wonderful African dish. Yeah.
Indeed. So we have
Well,
James David.
David.
Yes, indeed,
Yeah.
James David also. And my brother and friend Alexander Boniface in Madway Hills. Say maybe where is our favorite Senegali. What Senegali again?
You see
We
me
get
here?
look, look, hello, my young
You see
man.
African
Let's show
guy.
today. Yeah, man. What is it?
And it's not Boniface out here, yeah? Your girl from Senegal is here on the show.
Wonderful. So we also have a lot of our followers also via the radio. Those of you that are also listening to us through the radio, let me say a wonderful good afternoon or good evening to all of you. And happy to be back on the Monday evening on the SKTV show. Alfonso Seal, ala DJS, one of my closest ala, also following this show this evening. Indeed, a wonderful way to say good evening to all of you. Many thanks. Keep following those of you who are also watching. And going back to where, right? Mona, you are the one there. Is that the name?
Yeah. Yeah, Gombe
Gong,
Toure.
okay, going back to
Yeah,
where? Okay,
Gombe,
that's
they
good.
have Ja
And
Eddie. Yeah,
all right, good. Yeah,
Ja
so go ahead,
Eddie,
Mona.
Caroline. Go.
All right.
I see
Yeah. So
this already.
keep sharing. Those of you who just joining us, keep sharing. We have so many things to talk about today. Liberia is always on the if not on the world stage with Donald Trump, then we're doing our own local things here. Look, one of the country bless. That's what
The
Donald
country
Trump
is
and John
blessed.
Donald Trump and John wake
Country
up
is
and call our
blessed.
name. When they let Michael Jackson was in that sinking business, he also recognized our women. So I think we had to develop this small country so that people can come here, man. Because people just love their country, like yeah. Well, anyway, Mona, we have so many things to talk about. Mom will be
Oh
joining
yeah.
us very, very soon, and
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Cannon too will be joining us if possible. My counselor, Steve, will also join us. Yeah, maybe to chip in on some of the things I will be discussing. But so many things to talk about, Mona. Today we have three talking points. Yes, indeed, nearly four talking points because we will also chip in on the Supreme Court. Mind you, on today the Supreme Court have their March term of court opening, and on today, so we'll also chip in on that. Let me see our talking points quickly. Then I will ask you how's Wedru, how Granjere, and how things going on from that end of Liberia with our people and the life of our people there. So yeah, so we will also our talking points today. We will also look at the vice president statement that indeed is a fact cry. We will also look at that also and the usage. Mind you, Muna, our instant place, Panama, we have if Muna, you can still remember they what they can put on their head to be started.
I say what?
Uh,
Chabeta or what?
no, they get some kind of name for the Kobo people that can put a fool, on their head, be sending everyone. They get some kind of name for that, man. I'm still to the,
Lababido?
eh?
Lababido?
Yes, Lapa Bido, we were to our little Lapa Bido, yeah, era when we saw that, yeah, Lapa Bido, man, but out of my little Lapa Bido,
Lababido.
when saw on the internet that you say has canceled 83% of their programs and everything, nearly my more waste. Because Mona uh, I was confused, But
Wow.
again, thank God our lababido, the lababido again, we call for what? Mona, and I'm no soup. So look, yeah, look, Mona, I swear, I let it, helicopter, hey, man, don't
Helicopter
leave
food.
me alone.
Hey, helicopter.
Good.
Helicopter. The
Joseph,
one you can put on
yes,
our head.
yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
going
Joseph,
around.
why?
Yeah,
Anyway, you
sure.
go to the helicopter
Helicopter.
of you. Lababido, no. So, Monk, the big brother for helicopter and Lababido.
Lababido, yes, actually. Lababido.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Lababido is the big brother for helicopter. So those of us like if for the helicopter, we don't sometimes we don't go to Lababido because if you don't have the Lababido, because Lababido now Kobo now is around 300. Yeah, that's the fact. Kobo is around 300. So the Lababido people there and the helicopter people, so they can get so I can go waste my own time
Yeah, sure.
to
So
go
we get
to.
it. Get it. You
Uh,
want Abby.
yeah, man. So
You want Abby.
So I just collect Malay helicopter and any helicopter you gotta buy water. Look, one of the country change you when you buy food, you buy water, everything that you buy. How come? I'm a bit confused. Hey, Mona,
That's
and
you
this
buy
system come
all.
from someone saying that if other system come from the Africa coast. Is that true? Oh, Monk is here. Sorry, the word Monk. Yeah, sorry. Let me bring. Yeah, Monk. Good evening. Yeah, somebody said I used to eat. Oh, okay, I get that to
Get it
yeah,
buggy.
yeah. Get it to Monk. Good evening, my dear
What's
brother.
up? What's going on? And how to the
Well,
listening audience? Another day.
well, nothing much, my dear brother. I don't know what you can say because maybe yourself once upon a time you ever passed through anything they call a babido or helicopter.
I know about Lavabido when I used to go to school. We go on Ashmore Street there, right between the that little
Yeah,
alley when Oma used to be there. Right there, right. And we had one of her, I think she stayed there now, man. Jama one for Oma. She used to be my neighbor in Corway. She got her little restaurant right by the intersection of Ashmore and Galley Street, where the
Mm.
fire service, right behind the fire service there. She used to cook. I think she's still doing it. She stayed there. That was my neighbor from Corway. And so Lababido is nothing new to us. We've been doing it since high school days in Liberia. But then we
Mm.
never used to buy water and think that the way people can buy fish.
Okay,
That
Monk.
system came from
Yeah,
Africa.
well, our colleague. Oh,
The first time I left the country
mm,
in
mm,
Danane, traveling by road
mm.
on my way to Ghana, uh, went to the parking station, the Steve parking station in Danane and one in Abidjan. You would buy the fish, the meat, and everything separate. It was my first time being introduced to that system, so it was very strange to me. We never had that in Liberia, but unfortunately, there's a different era now, so everything changed. Yep.
Seriously, Monk, and you're right. But Monk, one thing that I'm also observing about some of these things is that, and when you go to some of the Lapabido or the kind of food era, you will hear some of our mothers back then, they will encourage you, don't give up in life, your struggle, thing will get better. But then sometimes, Monk, when God even bless us, like you are saying, maybe that lady she stayed there. Some of us we don't even go back and even say hi to some of the people.
The only God level don't change. But
Oh,
some people will do that. Not everybody. Some people will still go back to pay homage, bring back
yeah, because
memories.
ministers and
Sometimes
Monk,
you speak to some
representatives and
people.
so on, big
Uh,
government officials, and these are places that made the people, but they don't even go back.
yep. But I said that's life. You don't expect everybody to behave like you. Everybody got different training and upbringing, so you cannot assume that because you do one thing, somebody else is going to do exactly the same. No, that's not how the world works. But anyway, that's it. That's life. We move.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, Monk. We move. So, Monk, we were talking about our four talking points on today with the Chief Justice, one from the from the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice final parting address. We'll also look at that. Then the Vice President statement that he's a park car, and that of the UC canceling almost 83% of their operations or their uh, supports across the world. We'll also look at that. Then the terrible accident that took place last afternoon in somewhere around the bus time and there that took away, according to information, almost nearly 4 to 5 persons lives. So we will also look at that also. So these are our talking points, but I know there are other things as we go along, or maybe that we're going to start with before coming back to our talking points on today. Well, Muna, let's begin with you. What are some of the things happening in Zwedru, Granjide, that you want to maybe tell us about?
Yeah, good to be back. Among what's up, like nothing much, but I'm following the local authorities and I'm trying to follow up our projects that will earmark the money were given to. So they are trying to follow up on all this project in making sure that the work is ongoing. That if they happen to pass budget, that has seen project won't be reflected in this year budget. So that's happening right now. But following up those projects in those rural districts. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Muna. And Monk, we have so many stories, and I know maybe sometimes there are some stories that will likely come to your attention, or maybe that you want to tell us about quickly.
Well, a lot happening for me. Yesterday, we have our update. That's why I called you earlier because of the time we had daylight savings time. So you guys are only 5 hours ahead of me. You used to be 6 hours because of the winter, but in America we're always making adjustment to our time here. So we changed it, push it 1 hour ahead. Now you guys are only 5 hours ahead of me. So that was the first major update from here. I woke up earlier today, this morning, got my picking ready for school, and I tuned into the statement coming from the opening the March session of the Supreme Court. I didn't listen to the entire thing because it was very lengthy, but I listened to the Chief Justice because she's on her way out. I think she would turn 70 by June, and by law, she's supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
retiring at that age. But she said a lot of things. It was really loaded, and she used this particular phrase again, ultra virus, that Latin phrase, when it comes to the irregularity and kind of for abusing or disrespecting the law. And this time around, she attacked both the executive and the legislative branch of government that their action that they have no respect for the rule of law, that they are literally against us. That's what she was saying. And I don't want to get into the show that maybe go ahead. I mean, just stop there for now. We'll get to that later.
Yes,
Because
indeed. Yes,
she
because
hit a
that's
lot
one
of
of our
talking points.
talking points.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we, all right. So more, thank you, folks. So if you just joining us, this is the SKTV show. Please share, like, and comment. Yeah. So again, Mark, in the nation capital, like you already started, so many things happening with the politics. Mind you, politics are now becoming talk of the time, and whenever there are little issues, sometimes the issue blow out of proportions, come into public land, and become a talk of the time when it comes to politics. So again, yeah, well, like we already have some of these talking points, so we'll just use them now as our talking points instead of me explaining all of the happening. But so far, nothing new about or nothing new apart from the this happening that we don't talk that we're about to talk about. So let's move. Yes, Muna. All right. So our talking point, we begin with the accident first because we want to go into a little bit about that monk before we go to maybe the vice president. Then we'll close on the judiciary. Then we'll be able to go to the line to interact with our people. So let's begin with the accident yesterday afternoon, somewhere around the Boston end. A truck, tire truck belonging either to the contractors or the guys who are facing the road, according to information that that truck ran into a taxi cab were having close to almost about 5 to 6 passengers, according to information, and smashed the taxi um, that way, and which of course the people were on that place for nearly 45 minutes before the rescue team came out to rescue them. But again, Monk, that accident was terrible yesterday, and Liberian felt so bad that indeed this kind of thing will happen, and sometimes no way to even get out, especially when there is emergency or stuff. What say you when it comes to the accident yesterday, and what your own observation, especially with where things are moving with the kind of road connectivity and other accidents along the road or the major roads.
Well, the thing about accident is not new. It's not something new. There are a lot of systemic problems happening with the issue of accident, and it's not restricted or limited to one administration. It's an age-old problem. We don't have too many roads in Liberia. You got so many cars. We got a congested city. You got a lot of reckless driver that don't follow public instruction, or when it comes to driving, the rules and regulation of the traffic. People want to overtake, people want to be in a hurry, they want to cut corners. So these things, they are nothing new, especially on the highway too, where a lot of construction and things going on. It's almost like a death trap, and a lot of people been complaining. People that into civil engineering and people that come from that particular background, they always give warning that you should adhere to traffic rules and ordinances. But never. It's nothing new for me. I hate seeing those kind of video. I think it's too graphic for me. Usually, when I see this kind of a video, I just skip over them. Maybe I will look on other posts where the video won't be posted and just read few comments, but it can be so hard to handle. Like you remember the one that happened when that motorbike rider that was plowed over by the truck. I think it was
Mhm.
somewhere up on core where that we showed it last time. Like, it can be so hard. But our everyday occurrences, we just tell that we need more when it comes to issuing licenses and giving people proper training, or when it comes to getting more rules in the country. Because look, when you live in the other countries, maybe when the reason they got divided highway, it's slow or it ease too much accident happening because the people that are going in one direction, they are only going in one direction. In our country, we don't have those kind of a rules. When you go in west, all the car on that particular road will be going in one direction. In that case, it doesn't mean that you cannot have accident, but it will be very, very limited. It will not be too tragic in most instances because you guys are not sharing the same road. In most of our roads in Liberia, they're only divided by lines, right?
Mhm.
And when you get
Mhm.
people overtaking with motorcyclists, weaving all between those cars, keke drive, it becomes hectic. So there will always be a lot of accidents happening in Liberia. Unfortunately, I get the situation. There's nothing you can do about it because it's more of a structural problem. So it's a long term issue. You can solve it with a stroke, with one stroke. There are so
Yes,
many things you can do. So,
But Mark, before Muna come in, let me ask you this question when it comes to rescue team. First of all, let's send out our sympathy to the bereaved family because we are getting report that nearly 4 persons are already giving out their ghost. So we want to say our sympathy to the bereaved family. But Mark, let's go back to the issue of rescue emergency. Where are we as a country? Because when that incident happened, it took nearly 45 minutes for rescue team to arrive to get the truck over the taxi.
Yeah, but you talk about rescue. How many times we have shown videos on this program that when you talk about first responder or any rescue in case of any emergency, even the Capitol building, the seat of power in the country, you never even have fire truck that were available on the scene to come and put the fire up. And you're talking about accident. So I don't even want to go into that. It just tells that we got a lot of issues in Liberia, a lot of structural and systemic problem in Liberia that our spending priorities are not in the right order. Because I know that when you talk about rescue or first responder coming to your aid, whether it's an accident, whether it's healthcare emergency, maybe every community should have a fire truck or every community should have ambulances. I'm talking about on a community level because you got the
Mhm.
bulk of the population concentrated in Montserrat County. It's overpopulated. You got so many pressure on social services. So at the end of the day, maybe it just means that we're not spending what we should be spending. So I'm not going to question that. If it can happen in the government, that some of the most iconic buildings can be on guarded with fire, and you don't have emergency. You want me to believe that just because of an accident, all of a sudden, some emergency responder will appear in no time? That's not going to happen, my brother. So we can skip that
Well,
one for now.
great. Muna, what say you about the accident on yesterday?
You know,
In
for me, it was just quite frustrating. Yeah, so just our deepest condolence to the bereaved family. It's hard. It's not easy thing. But you see, right in the country, that we have a lot of offensive drivers and defensive drivers. We don't follow the rules. We have cars, but we don't follow the rules in driving. We are supposed to overtake that they will overtake. When something happens, it becomes problems. Like one time I was going Morovia, right? I rode a car from Gancha to Morovia. Another car was behind us. That guy want to overtake. Another car coming from in front. So when you bend the back of our car and get a jeep, the guy said to where you want to pass by, he will not move. It becomes problems. It becomes serious problem to that place there. So where you going? Some of the drivers are not patient. They are not patient. They get for the rules. They drive anyhow, especially on the highway. Be very, very careful because anytime anything can happen, they can take their time. Look what happened that we see in rescue. We don't have rescue in this country. We don't have them yet. If we very have them, if they very active, they are active. What happened yesterday? It's not like that, but it won't be like that. People get wounded and they'll be hospital. But now, even when you see when something happen, like when fire on a house has a burning, before you see fire service, when you go down help people want to help you, your house will burn to ashes. So we don't have them yet, and we have a lot of reckless driver that drive anyhow, and we don't have rules. Rules is the main issue in the country. We don't have good rules in the country. But for us to take our own time, we don't able. Since what happened yesterday, the life that lost yesterday, it's just quite frustrating. When I saw the video, I broke down to see that truck over that car, that chassis, small car over that place, see moving. So I don't know. That's just it. It's just quite frustrating. That's a yeah.
well, Muna, thank you. And let me say thank to Monk. Quickly, let me just give my. I observed so many things on yesterday. The first observation is that Boston end is someone would say is a little bit big now. I think it's turning into mini city. So I think that place should be able, or maybe they should have their own emergency team. But again, like Mo said, we don't have these things. And in fact, to just make everything short, these things, emergency or stuff, or maybe materials are not our priorities because we don't care about the life of our people. All we care about is how for government officials to get rich and to just get rich, and that's it. So the first observation is Even there is no nearby or there's no good hospital at that end that the people will be able to rush anybody there just in case when there's something happen at that bus stand in, right around that entire end. No. So they had to go all the way to 14 Military Hospital, that one. Two, the time the emergency team arrived on the scene was late. Was late. We're talking about human being. It's not cargo or maybe goods or something. No. And the heat, the pressure, well, if you have the people already giving out the ghost already, even before, like in fact, they were just breathing now, just by the help of God, because they were already under that kind of heat and no emergency or crime or this stuff to get the people out of that place. The third one is, even when the machine was there to get the truck off or to get the truck out from that place so that they can get the people from the taxi, only the citizen you were seeing, the other people you were seeing directing the truck. We have the videos. So where are the law enforcement officers? You want to save life, but you see people all on the truck. Like, what kind of country are we running? I wonder about why we're going on. Because you can't be saving life. Then you see people are even up and down all on the truck acting like, in fact, okay, it's good that they want to help, but I think that's why we have emergency team. That's why we have security. So these are a few observations for me that I really observed. So I think our government, politicians, even up to now, we haven't seen any major post from the government. I haven't seen that. You are still to be corrected, or maybe they have done that, but I haven't seen that.
Well,
Please.
I think for them, it just supposed to be standard operating procedure. It's supposed to be an everyday phenomenon. So it just like nobody cares.
Yeah,
It happened. It happened. You who the victim, you are the victim. That's just what it's all about. They are not going to prioritize it. No investigation. Who it was, who fought, who became the victim. No, they could care less. It would just the family would be bereaved. They got to take that loss, and at the end of the day, after 3 days, they're going to die naturally, like every other thing that happened in Liberia. That's it.
And that's the fun, monk. Where in this world that you have your people, you have citizens. Yesterday, people crying back to back. And no one government officials, all of you Facebook government officials, who are even doing nothing. Nothing some of you doing here. You call yourself assistant ministers, deputy ministers, nothing some of you doing. You all around on Facebook. We following you and we seeing you. You commenting, you reacting to things that what they paying you for.
And maybe just imagine this whole reckless and lawlessness that people can get. Those kind of thing happen. The first thing, emergency come on the scene, they secure the perimeter, the black people. But you got thousands of people with surrounded heat alone. You don't know human being got heat. When a bunch of human beings congregate, it produces heat. Somebody people already died from the heat because the emergency people supposed to come, secure the perimeter, and people who were trained, who supposed to be the professional, let them do that job. But everybody want to do their thing. Somebody taking bucket here, you wasting water here. Okay, yeah, it might look like something good, but it's not good. It's not your area. You don't know what happened to those people. But that's Liberia for you, my brother.
People told people, yes, you don't even know how to even tell the person. Just in case when something happen, that way you have people that are well trained for all these things. How to hold people, just in case when this thing happen. For everybody, then we pay people. God, Father, what we do to all of you politicians? So that's it. It's really frustrating. Some of us will even watch that or cry. Say, but then why are we paying people? Why? Because if you're paying people and they're not doing their work, then what the essence? So that only politics, only to protest. People come out, police people seeing up, and when you talk, you say, oh, you put on like to talk anything.
I will advise you to quit talking about it before they come and attack you, because for them, the politics is mostly important than their own personal life. And every time we talk about government inefficiency or government failure, you, the people, the everyday people, you are the one that going to bear the burden of the burden. So anytime we talk about bad governance, about corruption, about they think about voting on tribal line or party line, all these things, only you will be affected directly too. So you can come here and you attack you for this side, for that side. You talk about things that happen. They won't concentrate on people that are stealing their resources. On people. Look, you remember the video I sent you yesterday about that lady? I want you to play that video, or maybe tomorrow, since we got a full schedule today. There was a lady. I want that lady number. I want to call that lady personally for her bravery. That woman stood up to an angry mob because they were going to maul that kid to death. I don't know why he stole. And she stood up to them, almost like 5 or 6 of them with sticks in their hand. That lady, man, we got to give her credit. We must play that video on Sktv. Let people see that lady. And we will get her number. We will call her on the show and give her a prop. Trust me, bro. I have never seen anything like that in recent memory, especially coming from a female. That lady, man, she deserves an honor for bravery.
Steve, this sent that video for us to play, but because of Facebook, they have so many funny things, so that's why we were.
I don't think it will violate their community standard. Maybe, hopefully, we can do it tomorrow. Yeah, it won't violate their community standard because it was just a random video. It's not like something that is graphic that you trying to show intentionally. So I don't think that would be.
So quickly, Monk, before we even move from the entire stuff. So another thing is Monk fire. In case the way the truck and the taxi, the way everything happened that way, in case it was fire, Monk. So that many people are just going to burn at that.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
But when the thing that happened in the freeway with that oil tanker, it was not about the accident, but the people that went on the accident scene, they won't go affected. When they went there, when the tanker exploded, because they wasn't supposed to be there. Like I said, when this thing happened, you secure the perimeter, you get people far away. But in the case of our country, no, everybody is some kind of an expert. They must react, they must respond to things that doesn't even concern them, with no training, with no professional training or whatsoever in anything, but they are the one who will be the first to be on the scene. So the everyday thing, maybe we cannot crumble in the bereaved. Trust me.
So that's it, my brother. Let's move to our second talking point about the usage stuff. Monk, we get a report that close to 85% of UC operation has now been stopped. That means I don't know how many countries that maybe could be affected. And also, we are also hearing that the 70%, right? The 17% will be struggling in the U.S. and in fact, it will be channeled through their own operation so far, according to that information. But Monk, in the midst of all of the usage stuff, or usage holding and putting in the Wahala, what say you about the entire usage and what's going to happen to us as people? Yeah, now we die free because the other thing that happened yesterday, Monk, it just clearly tell us that in fact that we are empty vessel. We just living by the grace of God. Monk, with all these things happening, where are we?
For me, the user thing is not about politics. It's just about giving people what they deserve and what they need. The thing about users is not closing her program. What they are doing, they call it temporary freeze. It's just an exercise. It's a 90-day exercise wherein the government, the federal government, is trying to review most of the projects around the world that she financed or sponsor to see if they are in the U.S. foreign or policy interest, right? And they will cut down some of these programs that does not serve their interest. That's why they say a temporary freeze. Where they did, they rolled the USIF under the State Department, under now Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is the one that controls USIF. The president and his team told him, bro, go through the program, look at all the program, all the one that were created for stealing purposes, for like a slush fund for people in Washington and other places, politicians, career criminals that are here, that they are taking advantage of USAID. You can review them, cut the one that is necessary. And don't forget, one thing you won't hear from the media here is when it comes to humanitarian aid on USAID, they are not cutting certain programs. Whether it's about healthcare, whether it's about feeding around the world in some poorer countries, these things, they were giving a waiver. All they are literally doing is programs that were never intended to be financed by the U.S. government in terms of spreading American foreign policy. Those are the things they are cutting, and it only lasts for 90 days. The good thing people don't understand is when you cut down all these waste and abuse in the system, these programs that were intended to get the U.S. funding, maybe they might even get more money, because that means that the people who will remain on the list of programs, they will even get more funding. That's just why it is. But our finance minister said we survived the Ebola crisis, we survived 1990. So I think we'll be able to brace the other storm, because For me, why I see it from an efficiency standpoint. It puts the government on her toes. It tells the government that you are responsible for certain things. When you say give you money, it's just an added bonus. But you should be prioritizing your people needs in your country, your roads, your schools, your hospital, your healthcare. Those are not USAID responsibility. It's the government responsibility. So if the US government is going to partner with you to give you additional funding, you should see it like right? It like you my child and you go to school, eh? And every day I decide to give you $5 for your research. And somebody say, oh, I can get maybe one additional $3. Okay. Even though it's an additional $3, but that's not a present responsibility. It's just an added, it's a bonus. So the day the president take the $3 away, it won't even affect you or it won't harm you because I'm already giving you $5 on a day-to-day basis. Being my child, that's my responsibility. That's how the whole user thing is all about. But you know, the media will not portray it that way. It's just about politics. But at the end of the day, when you look at it from a bigger picture, that's why Paul Kagame said he loved it because it will put African countries on their knee, especially corrupt and reckless leaders. They will be able to prioritize things that they should be prioritizing in their country. So it's not an end to use it. It's just a temporary freeze to see which program needs to be cut out and the one that really need the funding to get their money and get the program around the world going. That's just what it's all about. Yep.
Well, great. Thank you, Mark. But before that, before we cross over to Muna for one take, I want to play this video from the motorcyclist because also in the usage situation, because young people are now eager, they want to work, they want something to do, and all of the things. And today we bump into this video coming from Central Maneuver with the motorcyclist talking about this. So y'all listen. Great, Mark. So young people want to work and nothing to do, and they are also hustling, quote unquote, by their way of getting motor back and riding motor back. And most of our programs, like even our security sector, you say also sponsoring most of our security sectors and also helping us to rebuild our security and so forth. But with that kind of threat or sinking coming from young people and in the midst of all of the cancellation of usage support, what say you, Monk?
Well, they will continue if they sponsor that program and they believe that it promote their interest. They will finance that program. Like I said, it's not about cutting usage program. It's just a temporary freeze to separate the wheat from the chaff. The program that are needed to be funded versus the one that was used for corruption purposes. That's just what happening in America. That's why they call it a temporary freeze, and it only lasts for 90 days. But let me tell you something, maybe I want to do me a favor. The video that I just watched, I was born in Liberia, I grew up in Liberia, right? The only thing I heard in that song, people will love. The first portion of that song, I didn't understand what they were saying. Maybe you can help me.
I think they were saying that if we not get, we not get access to the road because they are fighting to get access to the road. So they want the Liberia government to gain access so that they'll be able to do their hustle according to them. But when they don't get access to the road, people will lose. That means it's a serious threat. It's a security threat.
Oh, okay. So that's a threat. That's an open defiance. That's a threat that if they can't get access to the road, people will lose. Okay, which means they will go after folks. Okay, now I got it. All right. Because the part I was hearing clearly was people will lose.
I know we will take a whole day on our entire stuff, but I just
we have open threat.
Also
people will lose.
To our discussion. But Muna, go ahead.
No, for me, the whole you said thing I see is like check and balance to make sure that the right thing is done. And I mean, those leaders, African leaders, should prioritize the needs of their people. Things that prioritize, it should be of concern. So the whole you said, if I may, I read here that anything bad because they are doing check and balance in the interest of everybody. So their level, maybe there are some guy or corrupt leaders and things where no, they still put money and things. I don't worry because I don't see any kind of problem that we should be worrying about in Liberia yet. Because the people are doing that thing, going to assess to see our best. Maybe things that are not greater of matters, they shouldn't go for it. So a level of our leaders into see our best and prioritize those things that matters in our country, and the interest of the country of citizens should be your paramount concern. So that's just it.
Well,
Oh,
thank
maybe
you. So they are saying,
Orlando David just said, and he said that's
yeah,
not what he
yeah.
said. He said
They say
when
when
we
they
tired
tire.
protesting, people will lose. Okay.
Okay, good. Yeah. So they are saying that when they tire protesting, people will lose. Wow.
People
Okay,
lost.
that's good.
Wow.
So that's a serious threat, and I hope and pray that will not go that way. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Okay, when we tire protesting, people will lose.
Oh, so they use a
Wonderful.
program to cover those motorcyclists in Liberia, right? They got a segment of usage that cover motorcyclists, right?
No, I don't think so. But I was just
Oh, okay.
passing with that. With
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. Yeah,
I
I was
thought the
looking at
cost on the priest affected him too.
the security, because mind you, sometimes the U.S. government through USAID, sometimes they have their own budget for security and so forth. So that's what I was looking at when it comes to the issue of security. But they are saying that when they tire protesting, so even you have an other war, that may give them answer. We're not getting answer, right, Monk? So yeah, all right. So more, yeah. So that what they are protesting for, they want access on the mural. So if you not give them access, and when they tire protesting, people will lose, according to them. Well, let's move to our team. If not, yes, to the VP statement quickly. Then we'll climb out with the judicial. We'll go for the news. We'll come back. Then we'll open the line to be able to interact with our people. The vice president on that side with you people. I know he was quiz, and I like that. I like the interactions from the town hall meeting and so forth. But one of the questions was asked as to whether he was whether he is a park car, and he answered, and he said, the way our constitution is like you are a park car, according to him, that you are like a park car. So based on that, there are also mixed reactions on that as to are we going to experience another park car, because my Liberia is undeveloped and we need for our leaders to work hard. But coming again saying okay, I'm maybe park car or park car when people are vice president, whether you are male or female, or alone you are vice president, most definitely you are park car. What say you with a vice president statement that indeed, as long as you are vice president, most definitely you are Parker.
Maybe, it left with people interpretation, how they want to process it, how they want to interpret it. But he was not wrong. Maybe the context in which he spoke. Because the whole thing, if you look at the constitution and the day-to-day activity of the vice president, it's a ceremonial position. You are not that active except the president dedicates certain tasks for you to perform. So if the president wants you to be engaged, he will create conditions for you to be engaged. The vice president is not the one that controls policy. He's not the chief or executive officer of the government. He's not the guy that runs the day-to-day activity. Even in the Senate, where they say the vice president is the head of the Senate, actually, when it comes to voting, the vice president cannot vote. He does not cast a vote except there is a tie, and he come and break the tie. And in Liberian politics, the chances of all experiencing a tiebreaker is almost unlikely in every situation. So it just means almost like a dominant position. I would not want to be vice president for anybody, even though it got some advantages that in the case of death or resignation, the vice president takes over. But on the day-to-day activity, the vice president, no, you don't have that much to do. But it's up to the president. The president can put you on a roll and get you going. He can make you engaged. He can make you active. He can dedicate a lot of tasks for you to perform and make you more visible. But that's up to the president if the president chooses to. So I'm not going to hold him responsible for that, because whether you play the politics or not, when you look at the day-to-day function of the vice president, you are automatically a parked car until the president chooses to put you on the racetrack. So he's not wrong. The only difference between Jeremiah and Joseph Boaga, I think Steve even mentioned that, is Joseph Boaga made that statement when he was no longer in power, and Jeremiah is making that statement while he's an active vice president. So maybe It's a signal to the president that, you know what, I can get more done. I want to be more visible. Matter of fact, I want to run. But don't forget in the politics, Joseph Baga already warning that if you are looking towards 2029, then you should resign from our government. So if the vice president is putting here, oh, Mr. President, yeah, make me active, put me on the road, then maybe that's where the clash will come from between the president and the vice president. But from a logical standpoint, he's not wrong. From a policy standpoint, he's not wrong. The vice president is not the most active individual in the executive branch. Even in the first branch of government that he served as the head or the president of the Senate state, he doesn't have voting power except that it's a tiebreaker. So he's just there to monitor activity, but actually it's up to the president to make the vice president to be engaged. So you can interpret it all you want, but from looking at it from his statement, I don't think he was wrong. It's up to the president to make that call, you know?
Then Mark, someone will say, then what happened to the budget? Because mind you, the vice president have close to $3 million budget, you know, for his own operation, and even during the 2023 elections, people quote unquote were saying that you know, the vice president is young because, you know, we got to vote for the vice president and that of the president, because when we do, even though the paper, you know, that's the kind of way that they used to say, oh, you know, the paper, oh, so the Jamaican will be running things. But how can a Jamaican start to cry so early after all of the praises that were put on him, that indeed he the one that's going to run out of the our government and so forth? But now you cry because for me, I'm seeing this someone maybe he haven't been given maybe much opportunity, and you crying.
And that's a paradox when it comes to the budget. That's why I keep telling you folks, the two groups that are fighting in the house, that's why I could care less. Because if you are telling me constitutionally that you are a parked car, that you cannot get on the racetrack, it's up to the president to dedicate tax to you, that you must perform. Why is it when it comes to the budgetary aspect, then you are one of those that receive the highest or allotment in the government budget? Because if you are not that active, then you shouldn't be giving more money. Matter of fact, we shouldn't even give you a bigger budget or anything about even $500,000, because the only time you are put to work, except the president designate a particular tax to you. But look at the vice president budget. So how can you justify that? That's a complete opposite of the reality. Why should we keep giving vice president such a budget if, from a constitutional standpoint, from an operational standpoint, you are literally dormant? You can't do anything except the president empowers you. So why should we be giving this huge budget to a man who is almost non-functional? But I won't answer that question. It's up to them. I'm not the one that can allocate budget and go make procurements and all that stuff and go on the conference committee. So it's up to them. They know exactly what they are doing, because that's just a justifiable reason as to what a vice president shouldn't be making or be allocated such an amount in the national budget. You're already telling us that you are not active, that you are dormant, that you are a packer. Constitutionally, you are a packer. So then what is the essence of giving you more money? I might as well take 60% of your salary and give it to teachers, firefighters, and nurses. I think it will give a little boost in their paycheck.
And that's the thing, Monk, that you are saying, because if you have close to $3 million budget, and at the end of the day, you are also saying that in fact you are parked car, then I think that's a serious slap, maybe in the face of the voters or those quote unquote supported you and say, okay, yes, indeed, I think we have to get this young man assisting the old man. But then how can he cry or like, okay, I'm packed, you know, I can't cross over my boss, you know, my boss only have to ask me for an assistant before I do. So then that means most of the questions have been asked as to who is in control of the government. Up to now, we don't even know how things running, because mind you, people are really confused as to who really running things, who really in charge of the government, because there are so many things happening. So if the vice president come and say, okay, because of this situation for me, I'm packed until I had to get order from my boss, then I think let his budget be reduced, like you are saying, because you cannot be having that kind of a huge sum of money as your budget.
It's one of the reasons I told you that people prefer working in government, right? Because logically, when you look at the private sector, right, people pay you based on your ability, based on the value you are to the organization or to the business. So the more tax you are giving, the more responsibility justify how you get paid. The only entity on planet Earth that people can legally spend your money, people who never make money can legally spend your money, is in government, because you just made a case that a man who believes that he's not active, that he's dormant, right? That he's not on the racetrack, and he calling on the president, Mr. President, I'm here, give me something to do because I ain't doing anything. Why should he be giving up to $3 million in the budget? But you know what? That's government there for you. That's the only reason it exists. To use money, other people's money, without justifying the need. Because the only entity, like I said, on planet Earth that gave you the leverage to legally spend other people's money, you can only find that in government. So that's just one example you heard from the vice president. And logically, he's right. He's just a fat car. It's up to the president to put you on the racetrack and to utilize him. Because since the president is not, in terms of age, he's much older, maybe, or president will maybe get the vice president, a lot of things going on, a lot of projects, a lot of initiative, turning over to the vice president, making active, making visible, so people got a sense that the vice president got a lot of things going. But I don't think the president is interested in that, even though he doesn't have the day-to-day, the energy to even to execute the duty of the president. So I don't know why this particular parka is not stay active. At least I can reason if the president was really, really active, maybe some young guy in his middle ages and 50s, yeah. But there's an old president, an aging president, and then still, even in the midst of an aging president, or with of aging president leading the executive branch, the vice president is still a parka. I don't get that. Yeah.
Great. Muna, what say you? You listen to your vice president
I
in the US.
Very well.
Yes.
Saying
So
when
what say
in
you?
the US, saying when in the US Natal meeting, he say he park car. So I don't know where you're coming from with that. Say he park car. You know, look at this. The budget there be cut. Their budget be cut down. That one can help the health sector. Because in telling that you pack out thinking that you got issue in your favor, you make some things happen because looking at the president issue and then you help in the process. But since you pack out, send the car in there before you start that car, on Saturday will start that car for him. To say move, say remote control, say he pack out fine. Then the budget be cut down because you see pack out that budget, your budget alone, that small thing. They tell you that when person pack out, you go in America. You enter one late town meeting, then you see pack out. Say you pack out your budget, there budget be cut down. They be cut down to help the health sector. So they will understand that in park and you mean there until they start the car, then you can move on. Until they tell you say go, then you go. And say sit down, you sit down. That's how I can see that. But they be cut down. Saying in park, they be cut down to help the health sector. That will be fine. Then you just sit down there when the president say move, you move. You got remote control. Go so you go so. Then you go to America. You can sit in. Say you park on one time meeting. Say you park car. What kind of country is this here? They can be serious too in the country here. Because they have free money, after getting government, have free money, getting government. They don't care about themselves. They eat the money, they have a lot of purpose beyond them, a lot of sectors. No improvement, nothing. Then you go in America that time, you go in say you pack at the budget be cut down. You can see you pack again, I can have budget and then post stuff in the country.
So Muna, what you literally saying is send the man his package, you want to pack his budget.
Yeah, the same thing. The budget be cut down. The budget to help the health sector to improve. Because you can remember one time you say pack car, the budget be cut down. Say you pack car on same budget cut or you pack your budget. When you get a start car, the budget will start. So now pack car you get, because be serious in the country.
Well, Muna, thank you. Yeah, Muna, wow.
The country, they tell the elephant meet. Anybody kind of call that when go. Then at the end result, they go say things that they're supposed to say.
Because I can still recall this same vice president 2023. If yes, I found that video. That was 2023 when he made that statement that indeed they are responsible for Liberia going forward or Liberia going backward. So if he in fact, if he's part of the two most powerful people, the president and the vice president, he's part of that entire group. So if you're making a kind of statement, Monk, then tell me, do you think that our lawmakers or maybe other maybe government functions or maybe other ministers and directors, do you think they will be serious, or you think they will say, but then we are all packed? Should we all be packed, or should people get on their fit to work. Monk.
You know the thing I found very funny about this vice president. You remember he always making controversial statement. He was the same one on video before the election. You remember that video that he said he made an analogy that said that his dad used to buy him dapper, but now he's the one buying his father's dapper. So he was insinuating that Joseph Boakai is the one wearing dappers right now. Cognitively, he's not there. So you ask yourself, if the president, if the president is not there, or from a physical standpoint, from a cognitive standpoint, then why are you still a parked car? Because you should be the most active vice president in history by virtue of the fact that the guy who's calling the shot, he's very old, that he's not there physically, mentally, and cognitively. So why is it that you are still complaining about being a parked car? Because the vice president, his statement always contradicted himself. So I don't understand. And when I said it right, if you believe that you are parked, not only for the vice president, even your speaker and your senate pro tem, maybe can you justify the kind of a job that these people do? Because the one thing that I know, even in Western society, right, when people go to government, the intent is not to go and make money because their salary is nothing, right? They got CEOs that will make tens of millions of dollars. The average lawmaker will make anywhere between $300,000 to $400,000 a year in this great country. And don't forget, they are in the tax bracket of almost 38%. So you are looking at almost 40% of their income going to taxes alone. Now, when you justify it with our lawmaker, you be like, okay, what these guys are doing, how many days a week they work, how many value they are adding to the economy or to the nation progress that we should be paying in such an amount. So only in government that your compensation cannot justify the work that you are doing. So the vice president might be the one to say it, but throughout the entire government, if you really want to make sense of this thing, to say, justify the job that you are doing here that warrants such a paycheck or the benefit that you are getting every month, you won't be able to make the case for them in relationship to how much they are getting paid per month. And looking at other people that work in the country, like I said, civil servant, whether they are police or police officers, military personnel, firefighter, nurses, these are people that hold strategic positions because we need this thing to function in society. Those are the people that should be making some decent wages to maintain their lifestyle every month. But in our country, the Packer is getting almost $3 million. You look at the speaker, you look at the pro tem, even up to the president himself, you cannot justify their income versus the job, the work they are putting in. So we can talk that for another day because it won't come to an end.
All right. So anytime from now, we'll be linking with our news team to go for the news break. Right here on the Truth FM 96.1. They are so Liberia. So more indeed, we are going for the news break. We'll come back. We'll continue with the SKTV show this evening.
Good evening, RCR News Bulletin at 7. My name is Mark Davis. In the headlines, Chief Justice Sienna Yo announces her pending retirement from the judiciary as she approaches the age of 70 on July 26th. That's June 26th this year. President Joseph Boakai pledges his administration's full support for an independent and effective judiciary in Liberia. Of course, Parliament finally rejects the decision by House Speaker Richard Kuhn requesting the replacement of Liberia's representatives at the regional parliaments. And away from Liberia, U.S. orders non-emergency staff to leave South Sudan as tensions rise, according to the BBC. Those are the headlines. Now the news in detail. Chief Justice Mayo has announced her pending retirement from the judiciary as she reaches the age of 70 on June 26, 2025. Chief Justice Yo's retirement, according to RCR judicial correspondent, is in strict accordance with Article 72B of the 1986 Constitution. The law states the Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court and judges of the subordinate court of records shall be retired at the age of 70. As a result of this legal provision, this March term opening is Chief Justice Yo's last opening in her capacity as Chief Justice and head of the judiciary. However, Chief Justice Yo will continue with cases that she heard and will render judgments before her final exit as provided by law. Despite the many challenges the judiciary is faced with, Justice Yo said, the judiciary remains fully operational through exploring ways to enhance its functions. Chief Justice Yo, who is the third female Chief Justice, assumed the mantle of authority as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court on October 10, 2022, following the retirement of former Chief Justice Francis Kopo in the same year. RCR judicial correspondent further said during Monday's opening of the High Court, the head of the committee of the House of Representatives and Senate Pro Tem Kanga Lawrence, among others, were absent from the court official opening after they were invited. President Joseph Boakai has pledged his administration's full support for an independent and effective judiciary in Liberia. Speaking at the March term opening of the Supreme Court on Monday, President Boakai underscored the judiciary's vital role in sustaining democracy, ensuring justice for all, and driving national development. President Boakai also paid tribute to former Chief Justices Son Benedict and Louis Arthur Grams, recognizing their lasting contributions to Liberia's legal system. At the same time, President Boakai has urged the judiciary to remain steadfast in delivering justice fairly and without bias. The opening of the Supreme Court's March term signals the start of a new judicial cycle during which critical cases will be reviewed. He emphasized that by upholding the rule of law, the government aims to bolster public trust in the judiciary and strengthen Liberia's democratic foundations. Meanwhile, in the wake of government recent compliance with the Financial Autonomy Act of 2006, the Liberian National Bar Association has called for transparency and accountability in the management of funds allocated to the judiciary. The bar's president, Councillor Bono Varma, said financial autonomy must be accompanied by responsible stewardship to ensure that resources are effectively utilized in strengthening the justice system, improving access to justice, and enhancing public confidence in the judiciary. Councillor Varma also called for stringent financial oversight, periodic auditing, and adherence to best financial management practices to guarantee that funds at the judiciary's disposal serve their intended purpose. He added that a transparent and accountable judiciary is essential to sustaining the integrity of the legal system and enhancing democratic governance in Liberia. Speaking at the March term opening of the Supreme Court, the LNBA president noted that the bar remains committed to advocating for judicial independence, accountability, and the overall improvement of the legal profession in Liberia. Councillor Bono Varma pledged the Liberian National Bar Association's commitment to promoting the rule of law, upholding legal ethics, and ensuring that justice is served for all Liberians. The ECOWAS Parliament has finally rejected the decision by House Speaker Richard Kuhn requesting the replacement of Liberia's representatives at the regional parliament in Abuja, Nigeria. ECOWAS, in its communication, rejected a request to recall and replace Representatives Samuel Enders, Moima Briggs-Mensa, and Ta Wongbe. In a letter dated March 7, 2025, the acting Secretary General of the ECOWAS Parliament, Bartin Somé, stated that ECOWAS parliamentarians serve a fixed 4-year term and can only be replaced under specific conditions such as non-re-election at the national level, death, resignation, incapacity, and misconduct. Other conditions include resignation due to incompatibility, certified mental or physical incapacity to perform duties, among others. According to the communication, since none of those conditions apply to the Liberian delegates, they will continue to serve until their term ends. You are listening to a bulletin of news from the News and Current Affairs Department here at the Renaissance Communications Incorporated. We broadcast from Togo, Ipinzo, outside Monrovia. In more news, Montserrat County Senator Darius DeLong has urged the Liberia National Police not to reverse its recent no-go zone restriction against motorcyclists in the country. Senator DeLong maintained that the restrictions, as announced by the Liberia National Police, must remain in place to ensure public safety and regulation. According to Senator DeLong, Liberia as a country will move in the right direction once systems put in place are respected and upheld. He said no amount of public threat will scare him from standing for the right thing, especially issues that border on the lives of the ordinary Liberian people. The Montserrat County lawmaker believes the recent action by the cyclists was unprofessional, and as such, there must be some law and order to restrict their movement. He made the statement Monday on state radio. Well, in a related development, a pro-democracy organization, Solidarity and Trust for a New Day, or STAND, has filed a lawsuit before the Supreme Court against the government over the restrictions on motorcyclists. STAND's national chairman, Maba Malu, disclosed that a lawsuit filed by his legal team, headed by Councillor Serena Cephas, seeks to prohibit the executive branch of government, particularly the Liberia National Police, from enforcing the current restrictions imposed on motorcyclists. Addressing a press conference on Monday in Monrovia, Malu added that it is disheartening for motorcyclists to be treated in such a manner, especially after they have complied with government regulations by registering their motorcycles. The former CDC chairman further emphasized that recent incidents involving a few motorcyclists going on the rampage must not be used as a basis to impose what he referred to as a blanket restrictions on all motorcyclists in Monrovia. Malu noted that the government's approach is unfair and called for more targeted and reasonable measures rather than a holistic crackdown on all riders in the city. The political leader of the Citizens Movement for Change (CMC) and Nema County District 7 Representative Musa Belete has called on Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn to refrain from interfering in the upcoming Nema County senatorial by-election scheduled for April 22 this year. Speaking at an endorsement ceremony for CMC senatorial candidate Mark Bloom, Representative Belete stressed that the election is a matter for the people of Nimba to decide and should not involve the vice president. He warned that any involvement by VP Kuhn will not be tolerated. The by-election is set to fill the vacancy left by late Senator Prince Johnson, and political tensions are already running high as various candidates position themselves for the county by-election on April 22. And out of Liberia now, the United States has ordered all its non-emergency staff in South Sudan to leave amid rising tensions in that country. Fighting in recent days has threatened an already fragile peace deal between President Salva Kiir and Vice President Riek Machar. The two leaders signed a peace agreement in 2018 to end a 5-year civil war that killed hundreds of thousands of people, but their relationship has remained fraught. On Sunday, the U.S. State Department said that fighting was ongoing in South Sudan between various political and ethnic groups, and that weapons are readily available to the population. Due to the risks in the country, on March 8, 2025, the Department of State ordered the departure of non-emergency U.S. government employees. The UN Human Rights Commission for South Sudan on Saturday warned of an alarming regression that threatened to undo years of progress towards peace. President Kiir has called for calm and made an assurance that the country would not return to war. In an escalation of the tensions, a UN helicopter that had been evacuating members of the National Army was shot at on Friday, killing several people, including one crew member. Earlier in the week, the Deputy Chief of Army and two ministers allied to Makar were arrested by security forces, which an opposition spokesman termed as grave violation of the peace deal. Well, to end this bulletin of news, a recap of the top stories. Chief Justice Siana Yo announces her pending retirement from the Supreme Court as she approaches the age of 70 on June 26 this year. President Joseph Boakai attends the March term opening of the Supreme Court, pledges his administration's full support for an independent and effective judiciary in Liberia. ECOWAS Parliament finally rejects the decision by House Speaker Richard Kun requesting the replacement of Liberia's representatives at the regional parliament in Abuja, Nigeria. And of the home front, the United States orders all its non-emergency staff in South Sudan to leave amid rising tensions in that country, according to the BBC. That's RCA News Bulletin at 7. My name is Marka Davis.
After the news bulletin, you're listening to 15 minutes of news from our newsroom. The opportunity is here to join the station. That will be at 8 o'clock on tonight, by which time we'll bring you 45 minutes of news. So again, we're back. Let me see our best to get my team connected. Yes, indeed, Mark already here, and Muna. Yeah, so Mark, we're back after the news bulletin. I guess all of you were following, and what's the take from the news bulletin, if you were following?
Well, he get their question obviously on the Supreme Court justices and the Chief Justice, their statement, because, like I said, in June, she will be part in the Supreme Court based on her age and the requirement for the job. But she said a whole lot of stuff, and she scolded the president. He was sitting right there, and she said a lot of stuff. It will get the news bulletin anyway, but she talked about the judicial independence. She talked about the history, how she came from being an associate justice to the chief justice on the Supreme Court. She talked about the executive and the first branch of government undermining the function of the judiciary branch. Look, Mabel, she said a whole lot of stuff. One thing she accused, and she even quoted had some provisions in the law that when it comes to the Supreme Court budget, when it comes to their allocation, the pension, their debt, maintenance, and the day-to-day operation, it needs to go through the budget bureau. She literally said that this administration is against the administration. That's how I would interpret it. And one thing the lady said, look, I think she been packing this for the president, even though she said other things. But at the end of the day, when you look at the statement that she made, she said one of the things that she said, when it comes to, she said they even upgraded the judiciary system, how they came from paper from the file cabinet to that of they came out with something they call the judicial service system. Their system now is more digital. It's not like paper filing anymore. And they came up with something they call the electronic case management system. So she was literally saying, even the so-called rule of law, at least we have been trying to enhance this rule of law. But this president believes that rule of law is part of the arrest agenda for inclusive development, but he's not even respectful of the rule of law. And she made that comment. She quoted she talked about how there's something that grants them financial autonomy through the Financial Autonomy Act of 2006. that this administration, including that of our lawmaker, they are in a constant habit of violating. That's why I keep telling people who claim that they own the Richie Kunsa or the fanatic of no. Every one of them have no regard for the Constitution. And the Supreme Court Chief Justice said it again today in her statement that the first branch of government, and you know the exact phrase she used? She said, we are not just a mere agency under the executive, and we are not subservient to the legislative branch of government. That we're not just some ordinary people you can just play with here. And you know what she said again about the finance minister? That in spite of going through the budget bureau, when it comes to the allocation and their financial autonomy to give them the independence, you got the finance minister that can be writing them and detecting how much they will get in the national budget. Can you imagine that? First of all, it's a violation that even the executive will interfere when it comes to the judiciary branch of government, when it comes to the budget allocation. Then you get a finance minister literally writing justices or the chief justice about how much they will get in the budget. Look, maybe we don't have a country. We are pretending to be a country. We are not. The Constitution is being violated by all three branches of government. No one is off limit. They are all one of the same. It might look like this group rule of law government. No, they are not. Because when you violate the budget, you are also violating the Constitution. But unfortunately, our people, most of them, it's all about the politics. They don't look at the bigger picture because, like I keep saying on the show, they must always pick a star in every fight. They don't look at it. They only mind their own interest, because if you get a chief justice or retiring chief justice telling you that both the first branch of government and the executive are in the constant habit of violating laws that govern the same budget, then tell me, who can you go to for any redress? I get the speaker too. The current speaker, he's also part of that. Matter of fact, we said it on the show that it met under the cover of darkness or secrecy to alter the budget. The funds that were allocated, whether it was for paying them international debt, no, they detected how much to go to who. So, my brother, the entire system is broken down. Nobody there is in favor of the law. Nobody there respects the Constitution. Every single one of them are not respected of the Constitution. That's just the reality. It's not coming from Monk. It's not coming from SKTV. It's been reaffirmed by your retiring Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. She quoted the law that they violated. She gave this provision, and she keeps saying, I think when it comes to the rule of law, the Supreme Court is even interested in upholding Joseph Boakar's own arrest agenda by virtue of his rule of law, because rule of law is part of the arrest. But it seems like he doesn't have any interest when it comes to the Constitution and rule of law in Liberia. That's exactly what she said.
So Mark, that means, in short, that means we are just running a system. I don't know, should I say a managing system? Okay, let the executive, let them maybe bring their portion of what they think they can do. Then the judiciary branch also her own portion, and also the legislative branch also the same thing. Because if you are saying that the Ministry of Finance dictating to the court or to the judiciary branch of government as to what they want them to do, then Monk, then we have any system to go by, or are we also saying that because of all of these kind of interplays, all of these kind of changing hands and honor cover or so forth, that will make our system to look balanced the way it is today?
You know, when she used the phrase ultra virus, I say, oh God, the same people who say they are going to the Supreme Court for a redress because the actions of the majority of black consider ultra virus. The Supreme Court Chief Justice is telling you that both the executive and the entire legislative body, their actions are ultra virus. Can you imagine that? So why are you going to the Supreme Court for redress for what? When you yourself, she's telling you that you yourself keep violating the Constitution. Even when it comes to the disbursement of the Supreme Court or the judiciary budget, they get a term, they got a first disbursement should be done on the first quarter of the year, the passage of the budget, or 15 days after each quarter. The government cannot even meet those benchmarks. Can you imagine that? So the Chief Justice literally saying that the entire three branches of government, they don't even have regard for their own Constitution, including the president himself. So who are you going to? You just keep confusing yourself about the whole lawmaker or legislative impasse, because Every single one of them. There is no good apple. They are all bad apples. And that's why the Chief Justice is saying, look, maybe it's one thing to have a constitution or following the law, and it's another thing to be in conformity with the law. You can have the law on the book, but if you cannot implement the law becomes useless. You are just having it on paper. That's why I keep saying, like, we are pretending to have a government, but literally we don't have a government because the system of governance that we practice, we don't go by the rules that govern our system. So then why is the essence? It's not coming from Monk. It's not coming from Sktv. We said it on the show before. That's why I keep telling you, all the prominent folks in Liberia, including your Supreme Court Justice, your president, they all watch this program because every time we talk about this thing, I will keep saying it. I'm not saying it to brag about Sktv. We just bring the information that they will listen to, and maybe a day or two, they will come back and reaffirm what we keep saying. It's coming from your retiring Chief Justice, not some associate justice. No. She said she got more than 25 years of experience. Matter of fact, she went deep into the history, how she came from, her judicial philosophy, how she started this thing. She paid homage to some of the retired chief justices and that some of her classmates. I think one of them, Justice Koppa was one of her classmates. I think she gave the whole history and she just went step by step. But when she got to that part, man, I was like, this woman been having this thing for this president. Apparently, she's like, you know what? Since there will be my last public statement as a Supreme Court Chief Justice, I might as well leave everything on the table and just spill my guts out there so the whole country can get to know what's happening in this particular society. And that's exactly what she did. Nobody got respect for the law.
Mark, that means the Chief Justice statement today is an eye-opener for all Liberians. Who should we blame into all of these situations? Should we blame the executive? Because, mind you, our constitution, even we don't see our curriculum, we don't see anything being or talk about in school, no school teaching our children about their constitution or even their rights. So because of that, everyone just saying things, everyone going the way they are going, even the law-abiding officers or the security officers, they are also, most of them, I would say this for free, that they don't even know the law, or in fact, they don't even know the citizen rights. So, Monk, is this an eye-opener for our people, or who should we blame into all of these holding and putting that make our justice system to be messed up the way it is today?
Well, it's not only an eye-opener, it's an eye-opener for the entire country, but the fact is the eye-opener is not something new. People got selective amnesia. That's the problem. People choose to listen to what they want to listen to, rather than listening to things that are in their best interest and looking at the bigger picture. That's what the problem is. We said this thing here. It's not a threat to AI. I believe Sktv is not the only platform that have highlighted these things. So maybe now you're coming from the Chief Justice or retiring justice. Maybe they will take it seriously, but we've been saying this forever. Look, I care less about Fonati Kofa. I care less about Richard Kuhn. I know this thing been happening. I know they are not in it for the betterment of the country. I keep saying it on the show. It's all about power. It's all about money. It's all about the disregard for the Constitution and people having influence to finance their presidential ambition for 2029. That's just why it's all about. So when your Chief Justice, this retiring Chief Justice that been in on the bench for almost 20 some more years, if she's telling you that the first branch of government, including the executive, in the presence of the president, the sitting president, my brother, what more can I say? Then we just gotta get props to Sktv because we don't mince our words when it comes to this thing. Yeah, we got some callers, we got some of our listeners that will take that. Say, oh, we are fanatic for the rule of law. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Are you not aware that the budget is part of the rule of law? You don't know that? If your Supreme Court Chief Justice is telling you that the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs and the Minister of Finance can dictate how much they get. Matter of fact, she said, maybe one thing she said, maybe people are not paying attention. She said they wanted an upgrade to their office, right? That they paid, that they use, right? They wanted some development or some kind of an upgrade through their partners with the Chinese government. They came out with a blueprint. Now, the agency in the executive that's responsible to channel that to the partner, they ain't even doing it. Can you imagine that? That they came out with a blueprint, they came out with a sketch. There's what we try to do. Please fund out this project so we can upgrade our infrastructure. Yet guess what? The executive had no interest in that. And she was pissed. She was pissed off and she just spewed out her guts. She didn't play Mabel. Maybe you should go back and listen to her. And
Yes,
people, you know, in
I
our
will really
country,
follow
people
it.
clap more than they listen. Yeah, people
Indeed,
prefer
Mark.
clapping than listening, you know.
Yes, indeed. So
Go
Mona,
ahead, go ahead.
Mona, come up. What's the you with our outgoing Chief Justice? My you, she will be retiring on June 26th.
Yeah, in June.
Yes, June
Maybe
26th
it
of
just the
this year,
same because of
according
the
to our
whole power
constitution.
struggle.
Like, go ahead,
Because
Mona.
of the whole power struggle, they are breach their constitution. Because the whole power struggle, they respected the rule of law. Everyone makes their steps. That's why you see things going the way it's going. So you see she going out. So she opened it to the she planned she prepared herself, she prepared for the opening to speak out. Those things that are happening. Everyone makes their steps. Everyone makes their steps. That's why everyone is doing what pleases them because of their or their power business, their power struggle, their power struggle. Everyone breach the whole thing. Everyone. So that's what happening. So Dodo, she spoke. I read enjoy. I witnessed everything. She spoke well. She spoke well, and she enters in the ears of everyone. That what didn't happen before, it should happen now. The rule of law, the constitution must be respected. This country is governed by rules and regulations. So she put it plan because of your own power thing, this and that, maybe of your own your political thing, something. I won't be different or now do that. So we doing things randomly, we doing things where places or every now and then people laughing at her. And she spoke well. So I think we gotta go to the phone lines to listen.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mona. So more quickly, anything you
Minimum.
want to add
Let me
up?
just
Yes.
make one more statement before you go to the line. If you listen to the woman whole speech and the way how she went out there and just put everything on the floor, she was just telling Labrimpo that the entire government in Liberia, we are all bunch against us. We have no respect for the rule of law, and no single branch of government is exempted. That's why people who talking about we're going to the Supreme Court for redress, all that they're like, you wasting your time. For you guys, most of you want to undermine your own interest because for you, the politics will always come first. But that's exactly why your retiring Chief Justice is saying that you guys are nothing but against us. You have no respect or regard for the Constitution or any laws in Liberia. That's what she meant. And she never exempted any one of them. So technically, that's it.
But quickly, Mark, what can we do in the midst of all of the holding and putting accusations and so forth, putting maybe pointing fingers and so forth? What can we do as people to be able to give our country a better name out there, integrity and so forth? Because mind you, Mark, when the judicial system is weak, where there is no rule of law, mind you, there'll be no investors. Investors will be afraid. Even those ones, even here, they are also afraid because you know what? Every time there are laws, every time no, even when they go to court, there are no good redress. People have their own saying. The executive or from the legislature, just that among. So what can we do as people? Because this thing is like going out of hand day by day.
Maybe I have no idea about that. I don't know the way out. There are so many ways. Maybe the Liberian people themselves would decide as to what they want to do because it seems like when something is upset as a president, it's not about how often you change the government. It almost become like a
That's
second
the
nature to
point.
you. It become
Now
like
you join
it
me
become
finally
a
now more
custom
to
and a
say that cheating
tradition.
government is not a
Yeah,
solution.
it's not a solution because if you got the other statesmen that been in the corridors of power or in the public sector for 4 decades plus, that serve in different agencies, became vice president, became president, serve by LPMC, managing director, and all the places. If you got a chief justice telling you that we are against us here, that don't have regard for the rule of law, then my brother, who can you look up to? It means that even if you were to change the government, because it's a traditional thing now, people will come and do exactly the same thing
Waste
and
of
you'll be
time.
going to nowhere. Because it's a law. It's the law. That's why I keep telling my folks who taking sign this, they are always reference this whole us thing. No, you don't have any side of picking this stuff. Because when you look at the bigger picture, what led to this? What became the method to the madness? People do things. When you want to study human being, don't study their action, study their intent. Because when you know their intent, then the action is just a byproduct of their intent. Then you will know exactly what they are doing, what they are doing. And that's what happened in the country. It's all about power, it's all about money, It's all about stealing. They have no respect for the rule of law. It's about putting people on committee, getting more money, and getting ready for 2029. That's just what it's all about. So who am I to
And you
come pick a
nail
side?
it.
Yeah,
Thank you,
yes.
Monk. So let's go to the line and you nail it this evening. I keep saying that changing people for me is not the solution. That's just a Monk. The system is rotten. You can change anybody that you think that you want to change or change the entire or maybe government. That's just waste of time. A complete waste of time. Thank God, Monk, that you already maybe agreeing to what I've been saying and you understanding some of these things. Hello, to this caller. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Mabel, and let me say good evening to your fellow panelists. This is David King, and I do join you from my experience notice, Main Street. You know, what is happening now, I think the Chief Justice could have said it better than what she said today. I think Mr. Bwaka, who brought an arrest agenda to the Liberian people and talking about rule of law is part of it, and he don't believe in the rule of law. You know, he was a verified person to slap the Supreme Court in the face. When those guys for LTA, those commissioners for LTA were removed unconstitutionally, they went to the Supreme Court said, no, these guys cannot be removed. They are serving tell you. No, they should go by the word. He commanded the Supreme Court for a judgment. The next thing we heard, Judicial the guy was suspended for time indefinite. The following day, we heard say he suggested them to what? An investigation to be audited and advisory. So Mr. Bwaka don't believe in the rule of law, and this is why the Chief Justice just said it right. We are not getting to raising here. This is the country that we're running. You see, police people robbing Chinese investor at the hotel today. We don't know the case. How far is that case today? The 24,000 that were robbed by the police officer for the Chinese investor. We don't know that the forward man of that case. So nothing working here. That brother stranded will remain stranded for the next 6 years, and that's the issue. Thank you.
All right. So this caller, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Mabel.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Okay, this is Alfonso Johnson joining from Social Community. No, to be bold, our vice president is not doing on justice. And he repeated the statement made by his president, our president. You know, what part of Africa or what part of this world that you see the vice president, the budget is more than even the president? From 2024 up to present, our present vice president, his budget is 7,667.69 million. You see, 7.69 million as the budget since 2024, from 2024 to 2025. What part of the world you see somebody making huge money and say, oh, bad car? There is a statement made by our president in return to say that he had no function at all, he had no any other work to do or in terms of helping the Liberians. You see, this same person, he made 282,000. I'm not budget for him, just for few. Do you know how many Liberians go to bed without food? What 90% of our population today is starving? People who celebrated their our people have come to rescue, or people coming to take off from poverty. Then today, the only thing you have to say is a park card. How can a park card receive money more than a racing car?
All right, thank you so much. So this caller, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Mabel.
Yes, my dear, go ahead. Your name and from where you join us?
My name is I'm joining from Bali.
Good. Go ahead, Chief.
Maybe in this country, leadership does not go by age. Mr. Very wise man to Sudan, you know that. Mr. Bogaki, he fake experience and he fake age that he was going to do better than George Weah. He arrested the constitution of Liberia and began to squander, he began to carry to wherever he went to carry a good not behavior. You say, Mother.
Hello, to this caller, good evening. No, you go straight to
how you doing?
Yeah, hello, yeah, uncle. Yeah, man, I don't want to still need to talk.
Yeah, this is Brown Traffic.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, let me take your analysis, you, Mona, and Mo. So, before I start, you must make an analogy that when you get a child and promising $5, for example, and then every morning you go to school, you got to gain the $5. For you as an uncle, neighbor, you say, well, I will add $3 there. And mom continue to pay that $5 regularly. if for any reason you withdraw that $3, it made no impact. But what we can do here is that maybe in the hospital over there, maybe or 50,000 from government. And because the panel say we'll pay you 20,000, then they reduce the 50,000 they're supposed to give to 30,000 because hoping that the panel will give it 20,000. And when the panel default, then there's a crisis in the hospital. Let me go to the Chief Justice. Chief Justice has no better time than now to open your court. She will be retired in June. And she honor the cloud of the judiciary that anything she says, she cannot be held accountable. So it is the best time that she can say what she say, having observed the whole year working with this government. So if she not say it now, they say will judge her. So it's a better time that she can say it right now. So you see, but last day for the vice president, you know, it's understandable. Just recently they had a cabinet meeting, and the president said anybody who thinking was 2029, they must resign from our government. And you know that vice president is not voted for. It's a president. It is the president that chooses the vice president to run with him or with her. So for any reason that President Buhari as a vice president, he said it before, and then when they ask that question, just the buttress the boss. So that we can look at President Buhari as he said before as vice president that he's a fight card. So you got to use that same analogy so that we can agree that the position of vice president is dormant.
All right.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Uncle Brian. Tati, to this call, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, go ahead. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for your show. Maybe I'm our Benisham here. I joined a discussion for Omega Market in Mega Play of Sumo Particular. Maybe today on your show, I will not let us discuss the quality aspect of your show. Maybe see yesterday, people were saying to Boston Johnson, maybe on the truck drivers in this country. Are you getting me?
Yes, we're getting you. You are.
Yeah, maybe on the truck drivers in this country, they have waged war on the public. Maybe it's very sorrowful. Let everybody in Nigeria get out here to decide what to do to the truck drivers in this country. It's very much sorrowful. You see the kind of thing that happened to our state, to our Nigeria yesterday from Grandfather country. That is one of Nigeria paying attention to the family on our side, to the big family, and we are console there. It's not easy. But brother, when you see the thing, very sorrowful, Maple. Thank you very much for your show.
Thank you, my brother. Indeed, sorrowful. So this call, good evening. Yes, my dear, go ahead.
Thank you. Anyway, I'm Beto. I'm calling from the island this evening.
Thank you for joining us, my dear.
Yeah, so we really made a mistake. Or maybe really, I'm not understanding anything from the government. If things are in place, the house there, you know, say my own lawmaker para it. My lawmaker para it. Sego kane de tear me in a whole team. He did tear me. Richard Kuhn or Thomas Fala, the next person at Sego Kane.
Wow.
We have talk. My chairman executive. Me, you tell me in control. We have talk. Our representative refused to listen.
Well, thank you so much, my dear. I understand the frustration. To Charles Cooper, Charlie, good evening.
Good evening, Mebon.
Yes, my brother. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I phoned in from Calvi to Puro, and let me say good evening to the panelists. And Mebon, let me first register my deepest condolences to the bereaved family. I tragic motor accident. I did view it on Facebook and I felt so bad. And I think maybe there should be a stronger law pass that trucks should only run maybe between 2 to 4 in the morning. These trucks should only run between the hour 12 to 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning time. Where the road labor free people are in bed. I think we need to pass that kind of law. Because these trucks, we don't already have roads. Our roads are very narrow. And these cars can be on excessive speed, maybe. So we need to pass a stronger law that all trucks should run between 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. That will help to save some of these things. And maybe when it comes to the rule of law, maybe, that's why you see small neighbor, we did not vote during the second round of the election because we knew that if it cannot be CDC, it cannot also be UP. because we believe that UP and CEC, they are of the same 6 and 7. And you see, especially under this government, with all of the experiences that people claim that President Bota had, we thought that he's going to do it differently. But under President Bota, the rule of law has become rule out the law. And then somehow we don't have law degree, but when this cycle started at the house, we just sat down with using our conscious mind, our rational being. We just knew that everything was wrong. If you want to remove a speaker, there are procedures laid out in our constitution. That's because it is politics. Politics is guided by laws. My brother, without laws or without the rule of law, there is no politics. The tenets of democracy, the rule of law is one of the cardinal pillars. So you see, Mabel, you see where our country is.
All right, thank you so much. You see where our country is. Seriously. Today's caller, good evening.
Good evening, Mabel, and good evening to the many listeners around our country, Mama Liberia. In a country where we get a drilling machine, sticker, and a pin by a hammer or lawmaker. This is the force of PSI in Nigeria, Soviet District 4. Or you see, I like the way you put it. Although that particular position of vice president is never ceremonial, and I say that I would defend it to the letter. The vice president shall be elected together with the president according to our constitution, and he will aid the president. Do you know that the vice president is the principal advisor to the president? Everything that I Senate agreed upon, the constitution said it will pass through the vice president office. Why pass never for supervision? He will look at it before he will take it to the president office. Every agenda that goes on the floor of the Senate, the vice president will prepare it. How they can first come to the public deceptively and just tell all that, oh, the hero that banker, okay, thank God that banker, I let her monopoly say. Then pack your budget. You don't get 3 million budget when we get hospital in Babulu. No one is the other check. How many allocate?
20. I think about 25,000, right? I think around 20.
Come and tell me, hospital where the whole Western South, like we were depending on 25,000. What are the bills? Then you get a whooping sum of 3 million as a budget. In that particular 3 million, you get operation form. Then you think you pack. Okay, you pack. You get gas money in that particular budget. What are you doing with gas money? You pack. You're not running. You're not going low. When you park, you are on a particular stable position. You're not moving. You're not locomotive. You know what you do with gas money? What you do all the operation for?
All right.
Everybody like growing people.
All right. Thank you.
The plane are moving. The plane are moving, but we put it there. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. I know it's not easy. Hello, today's caller, good evening.
Hello,
My
neighbor. My name is Evan Squee. I'm joining you for my birthday. Discussion.
Thank you for joining us also.
Okay. Where our leaders, whatever the country to go, I play going now. The disgrace now, you see, I disgrace going on in this country now. We told President Bota to go and mitigate the whole thing to bring it down because he got control over Kum and Regime Kum. He got control over Regime Kum for a party. To talk to him and forget about him if I want to proceed smoothly. He refused. Because experience without wisdom is no good proceeding. So that's what happening now. You told us that we the monetary, we arrogant. But see why you're doing the constitution of Liberia, the organic law of Liberia.
Tomorrow we'll be looking at your case. Tomorrow we'll be looking at your case. Tomorrow they don't say you people should come back anymore. Tomorrow we'll look at your case. All right, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Keep a calls coming. Let's take a few more calls, and we cross over to our team. Yes, indeed. 0770-203-125. Some of you try also calling me on the WhatsApp number. Okay, but keep a calls coming. 0770-2031-25. That's the number for you to call this evening, and you will be live on the Sktv show. Yes, indeed. So many things to talk about. We've been talking about so many things. I don't know whether my brother. Well, Mr. Kai, I don't know whether you want to be part of the show this evening, but good evening.
Hello, Mabon.
Yes, you are live.
This is your uncle, A. Senior Kai from Firestone.
Thank you, Uncle, for joining us.
Good. Thank you for this program. I also want to say thanks to the panelists. But let me give the piece of advice. You know, sometimes some of the panelists talk as if they want to promote war or hatred in Liberia. Like sometimes ago, how do you call this guy? Prophet Key was taken to court in Liberia for using profane languages on our leaders in this country. And to be frank, it is not good. So we also want to advise the panelists, those who the indigenous have elected in this country to serve as leaders. If you are insulting them, you are insulting those that are here, even including yourself as a Liberian. But on the other hand, we want them to speak to issues that are cutting us. Like for instance, if Senior Kine served in the government and he have a criminal record, let it go step by step and put that information out so the Liberian can know. Like for instance, they were discussing the issue of these people, the lawmaker, since the time of our country being existing. The house have not been burned before. And they refer to those people from President Todman time, President Trouble, even though they refer to them as people who misused the resources of this country or the minerals of this country, could not do nothing or did not develop the country. And now those of them who claim to be educated people coming to see our country go into this kind of a disaster is bad. So let me do as an advice to everybody so that when they are speaking to this issue, let them be clear and bring those to book who are involved with this kind of issue.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for impact. I wanted to take the WhatsApp call quickly, then we cross over to our team of panel. We have 10 minutes to go. Sorry to those of you, your time. Today's caller, good evening.
Good evening, Ray. How are you?
Yeah, I'm better. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. And hi, UK.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's good. I want to say hi to this very important. I'm not really surprised. I'm not disappointed in the VP statement because I got my disappointment long time when the VP proved that he was powerless of what it takes to be vice president of that country. Did you listen to the vice president doing Prince Johnson funeral? Go by and listen to that clip. They may reduce the value of the vice president of the country. They didn't reduce the value of legislation in Liberia. According to VP Jeremiah Payne, on clip, if you go back to that clip, he said he was just sitting there in a shop doing a normal business, selling gas and selling a waiting in the shop. Then the team told him, "Oh, can't go be represented. We used to hear." So why are you trying to tell the people nobody is that? People go to the legislature without purpose. Everybody say this shop be popular. People can get in last press and they lay a bill. They came to the board. Lastly, what he said, he said 2022 or 2023. He was saying that in fact he was thinking that he was making more money in a shop more than being long because so you were even thinking about leaving the whole long paper thing to go by and go saying his shop. Then bring us to the left people and they please you to his actually spawn here and say, "Oh my son, I will make you my president." Oh my baby, how did you happen now?
Yeah, we gotta go. Yeah.
For somebody to be my president like you don't necessarily need to have vision for the country, but just because somebody is popular and you can rely on them so you can be vice president. And I want the Bible for the whole world.
All right, thank you so much, my brother. Thank you. You say about God there. One day, like we will get better. Yeah. So, Muna and Mark, you, if you people just listen to the chorus, and we have about 6 or 7 more minutes to go. So, what your reactions quickly? Then so we can wrap things up.
Why you want me to go first, Muna? Say, ladies before gentlemen, you want me to go first?
Yes, no, I'm gonna go first and then my party coming as well. Once I run, maybe I'm right.
Maybe
yes.
I guess my party coming once and for all, right?
Yeah. Muna, go ahead. No time.
So you know the colors they all spoke well. They are the reason we are here always, that we all can discuss easy to see our best. Our country can be in the right path. So these are the main things to the callers, the listeners, our followers. as we have always been there on the SKTV show. No, I will be able to discuss issues that can bring changes to all of us. The good can we see the good, we see the bad, we discuss those lapses to see how best the government can improve, yeah, in that area. So many things to all of you for being there. Do join us tomorrow, same time, same station for the SKTV show. Until then, Muna Lagri, do have yourself a wonderful, wonderful night. Bye
Thank
bye.
you, Mona. Thank you. I just love you so hands of Mona.
Oh my God, are you people? Huh?
I'm loving her on the show today. So how you not
Talking
get
to my good people.
how you not get so much shooter on the show? By the way, go
What
ahead.
a shooter again.
Somebody not following you on the show. You're great, bluffing too hard
What
today.
a
But
shooter
go ahead.
again.
Maybe more looking for trouble on this show, man. Yeah, we're gonna shoot up.
But I need more hearing you. Thank God
Yeah,
hearing me
yeah. I
more.
always agree. I always watching.
Ah,
Maybe.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, my brother. So
I
continue.
listened to the caller, but I got confused by one of them. He mentioned something about indigenous. How when you say something, I didn't get that part because I stepped away for like a minute. I really didn't understand what you're trying to say because to me, from the portion that I heard, the soundbite that I heard, it almost like trying to be some kind of a tribalistic tone that you were trying to strike about indigenous. I don't know when you criticize people that are in the government who claim to be indigenous. I didn't get that part right. But that's not the most important thing. The only thing that caught my attention today and the thing that I really laser focus on when I listen to the retiring or Chief Justice, I ask myself if her opinion or what she observed is that a consensus amongst all the justices on the Supreme Court bench. Because when she is literally saying that we are against us in this country, we don't have respect for the rule of law, the executive, the first branch of government, everybody's in ultra virus. If that's the consensus of the entire bench. And don't forget, Friday, we'll be going back to these people to get a redress again. So, if they are telling you that all three branches of government, they are not operating within their constitutional framework or limits, then what would be the outcome, even if they try to interpret again all the so-called build of information? How are you going to interpret it? Because you're hearing it from the Supreme Court Chief Justice mouth, right? Now some regular person, like I said, it's not coming from some associate justice or somebody from the bar. It's coming from the Chief Justice, the retiring Chief Justice with more than 25 plus years of experience, telling you that from the executive to the first branch of government, and matter of fact, they are mostly interested in upholding the rule of law than the other two branches of government. That every time they violate the Constitution, she never restricted anyone. Nobody was off limit, right? So my question is the Chief Justice opinion or from what she's observing, is that the consensus of the entire bench? Because if they all hold that same belief, then you get in case everything go back. That's just what it says from my own interpretation. That's how I'm going to interpret it. Because coming from their head, because I believe she's the head of the Supreme Court. She's the chief, that's what they call Chief Justice. She's not just the regular associate justice. She's the Chief Justice. If she believes that all three branches of government, they could care less about the Constitution, that they are all operating illegally, then it means that we might as well get the entire justice system goodbye. We have no safety net. Because I keep saying, when you look at the whole framework of democracy, you look up to the justice system. When the justice system fails, the only thing you left is the military. Nothing after the justice system. After the justice system is the military. So if she is telling the Liberian people on her way out, because she will be out in the next, I would say, little over 90 days. If she is telling the Liberian people that they are all in violation of the Constitution, then what next? Maybe that will be a discussion for tomorrow.
Yes, indeed, Mo. Thank you so
What
much.
next?
I think that's a good question because if situation continues to remain the way it is, then that means we are heading for chaos, like you are saying. Because if care is not taken, and if these people who we voted for, we call our leaders, and they are the same group of people who are also destroying our constitution, also destroying our system. Because, like for example, today there was photo, in fact, a photo trending on the Facebook or the internet about a lawmaker from Lofa County, I think District number 3, who quote unquote were using the telling, And one the citizen.
Yeah, I saw that photo.
Hey, you saw that, right? So
Yeah,
just tell me, Monk, where are we heading? If you love them,
25. Somebody asking who uses this car.
And the police even went there and asked him, Chief, please use your lane. I think your lane is free. He said no, until that car that is ahead of him can move from there. That's the only way that he will leave from the traffic. So because of that, he had to black traffic and so forth. But again, Monk, thank you so much and good night. We catch you when we catch you. That will be on tomorrow. By the grace of
not yet, folks. We'll do it again tomorrow, God's willing. Inshallah, right? And how to say yeah, inshallah, God's willing, right?
There are things we can do. We bring in good news and we give it to you. We touch it for podcast and connecting people and culture from getting up out of the club. Qualified people who willing to serve. The blessing that time and the efforts are rare. The brothers giving the care and the parents of them. So welcome my life with African.
I live
Master.
Play Paris, who make you, I can't Sktv-Lib. C'est ma chérie, tina ke ase ma jamu. Enji sano muni, emu aye yo. Enji lofa mui, emu aye yo.
Sktv, the best in Liberia. Sktv, the best in Africa. Sktv, the best in Mama Liberia. Must hold by the lofa and grandpa.
Basa. Ena Guinea ya tumale, ena Salia ya tumale, ena Conakry ya tumale, ena Côte d'Ivoire ya tumale, ena Guinea ya tumale, ena Salia ya tumale, ena Conakry ya tumale, ena Côte d'Ivoire ya tumale, ena Napagina ya tumale, Sktv, ena Napagina, Toshi Wakama ya tumale.
Sktv, the best in Liberia. Sktv, the best in Africa. Sktv, the best in Mama Liberia. Must hold by the Lopa and Grand Basa.
There are things we can do. We bring in good news and we give it to you. We talking for podcasts and connecting people and culture from here and up out of the globe. Qualified people who waiting to sell. The flesh, the time, and the efforts are red. The broadcast we giving are real and the promise my best. To work with my life without fear. From Grandfather, Nima to Lufa. From Riverside, River G to Chile. From Grand Crew, Bombing, Kidman, Montserrat, San to Backwalu. From Maryland, Bon County to Mikey B. We the best in the land, yeah, LIB. We the best in the land, yeah, LIB. We the best in the land, yeah, LIB.
Sktv, the best in Liberia. Sktv, the best in Africa.